Greetings, everyone. In this video, I would like to talk about Peterson Academy and the National Survey of Student Engagement. Now, the motivation for this is, once again, the idea of Peterson Academy and Jordan Peterson's proposal of Peterson Academy as a university. So I thought it would be interesting to compare the characteristics of Peterson Academy with some of the different features that are studied and documented on the National Survey of Student Engagement. So the National Survey of Student Engagement is a nationwide survey that collects information from students at hundreds of four-year colleges and four-year universities throughout the country. And what it studies is the nature of student experiences on campus, both in the classroom as well as on campus more broadly. And these are outcomes that are linked to, or I should say, these are experiences. The nature of these student experiences are experiences that are linked to positive outcomes for students. So that is to say, all of these different experiences that students might have are linked to positive academic and long-term outcomes for these students. So these are all good experiences for students to have on campus. And that made me think, I wonder to what extent it would be possible for a student at Peterson Academy to have these type of experiences. Are some of these experiences even possible at Peterson Academy? So again, in order for us to get a sense of what Peterson Academy is all about and what its potential is, since again, it hasn't even launched yet, it's a new idea, maybe it would be interesting to compare, or at least hypothesize, what the experiences of a Peterson Academy student might be and how that links to some of the things that are studied on the National Survey of Student Engagement. So let's start with teaching practices. Now, I'm not going to talk through the entire survey here, but I'm going to select a few different components of the survey that might be interesting for us to think about together. So the first is teaching practices. So let's look at some of these components that are studied on the survey. So the survey asks students, how often did you have a class where you experienced the following? Where the teacher, and the first question here is, clearly explained course goals and requirements. Could that be something that happens in the Peterson Academy? Possibly. The teacher provided feedback on a draft or work in progress. I don't think this is something that could happen in the Peterson Academy since, as far as we know, no students are getting any feedback on any of their draft or work, nor is there any drafts or work required in the course. I think as far as we know, you can go through the entire program without taking any exams, which is fine if that's what you want to get out of it. But there are no, as far as we know, any assignments to get feedback on other than multiple choice tests. Next, how often did your teacher provide prompts and detailed feedback on tests or completed assignments? Again, I think as far as we know, there are no assignments in Peterson Academy. That your teacher taught the course sessions in an organized way. That's certainly possible with the online lectures. Used examples or illustrations to explain difficult points. Again, this seems quite possible within the context of the online lectures. Let's move now to another component, higher order thinking. So now the survey asks, in your coursework, how often were you asked to do the following? So the first is analyzing an idea, experience, or line of reasoning in depth by examining its parts. Certainly this could be possible in Peterson Academy. Applying facts, theories, or methods to practical problems or new situations. Is that possible within Peterson Academy? Well, that's hard to say because, again, you're listening to an online lecture. How can you then apply those ideas to a new situation or a practical problem by watching the lecture? I mean, you certainly could do it in your own free time, but normally in the context of a university course, there would be an assignment or a project where there would be feedback, there would be scaffolding, there would be mentorship, etc., in helping the students to do this. And there would be some guidance in terms of how to apply the theories to the practical problem or the real life situation. It's unclear if that's possible in the context of an online lecture that is, again, pre-recorded. And there's no feedback with any instructors. Evaluating a point of view, decision, or information source. That seems possible within Peterson Academy. Forming a new idea or understanding from various pieces of information. That seems possible. Memorizing facts, ideas, or methods from your course and readings so that you can repeat them in pretty much the same form. Obviously, that's a negative question. Probably unavoidable in all college courses to some degree, although, again, the goal is for more application. One has to wonder to what extent Peterson Academy will rely on this, because the only type of assessment and the only type of feedback that is given is through the multiple choice exams. So it's unclear how there can be any kind of higher order thinking in terms of the assessment of the higher order thinking, other than just the reproduction of the facts as represented on a multiple choice exam. But that remains to be seen. Let's go to the next category, which is reflection and integration. So the students on the survey are asked, how often are you asked to do the following? To combine ideas from different courses when completing assignments. In Peterson Academy, again, it remains to be seen. I don't see how this is possible, since all the courses are seemingly unrelated. You have a course on Nietzsche, you have a course on nutrition, you have a course on men's rights, you have a course on evolutionary biology, you have a course on Winston Churchill. Are you expected to apply knowledge from one course to another? I don't see how that's possible. Maybe as the number of courses expand, that's possible. Right now, it's unclear how that would be done. Connected ideas from your courses to your prior experiences and knowledge. That could be possible. Connected your learning to societal problems and issues. I'm sure Jordan Peterson is going to do that. Examine the strengths and weaknesses of your own views on a topic or issue. Perhaps. Again, it's unclear how one would do that in the context of an online pre-recorded lecture, without it being in the context of, let's say, a scaffolded writing assignment, and then getting feedback on that assignment, or having a classroom discussion. So that might be a little more difficult, but we'll see. Included diverse perspectives, political, religious, racial, ethnic, gender, etc. Well, we'll have to see. Certainly, Jordan Peterson is going to apply some perspectives. Will all perspectives be represented? I would imagine probably not. Probably many, but probably certainly not all, since um, Jordan Peterson has said he wants to keep out certain ideologies and he wants to fix DEI. So obviously, not every perspective is going to be included in the discussions. Um, learn something that changed the way you understand an issue or concept. I'm sure that is going to happen in Peterson Academy. Try to better understand someone else's views by imagining how an issue looks from their perspective. Um, possibly. Again, maybe that is limited in the context where you're not having a real classroom discussion with real people, and just watching an online lecture, but perhaps the teachers will bring in other perspectives. So again, that's something where we'll have to wait and see. In the next section, we have the next section I'd like for us to look at together is collaborative learning. So the students through the National Survey of Student Engagement are asked, to what extent did you have the opportunity to participate in collaborative learning? And the following experiences. Ask another student to help you understand course material. In Peterson Academy, well, you have the social networking aspect. Maybe students could ask each other to help me explain, help explain this to me. Ask questions or contributed to course discussions in other ways. Again, you have the social network groups, but it's unclear if these are organized course discussions. So it's unclear how to answer that question, if that's possible in Peterson Academy. Attended an art exhibit, play, or other art performance. That's certainly not possible in Peterson Academy since it is completely online. Come to class without completing readings or assignments. Well, it's not, I mean, again, you're watching the lecture whenever you want, so it's not really a matter of being late for class or not having completed the assignment in time. There's also the issue where it's not clear if there are any assignments to complete in Peterson Academy. So it's not clear students have to do anything before class. Explain course material to one or more students. Again, maybe that's possible in the social networking. Gave a course presentation. This is probably not going to happen in Peterson Academy since there really are no organized sections or organized courses per se, other than thousands of people watching lectures online. There aren't assignments or presentations as part of the course experience, at least as far as we know. Prepared for exams by discussing or working through course material with other students. Well, that's possible, I suppose, but again, these are all multiple choice exams. But again, the students could get together and study together, ask each other questions online. Prepared 2 or more drafts of a paper or assignment before turning it in. This is probably not going to happen in Peterson Academy because, as far as we know, there are no assignments and there are no writing assignments and there is no feedback on writing of any kind. So that's probably not going to happen. Worked with other students on course projects or assignments. Again, as far as we know, there are no course projects, there are no course assignments. So that is probably not going to happen in Peterson Academy. Let's move now to faculty interaction. How often did you do the following or have the opportunity to engage in the following? Discussed course topics, ideas, or concepts with a faculty member outside of class. Again, as far as we know, that is never going to happen in Peterson Academy. As far as we know, the students do not have access to any of the lecturers. Discuss your academic performance with a faculty member. Again, probably not going to happen in Peterson Academy. Talked about career plans with a faculty member. Again, Probably not going to happen in Peterson Academy. Worked with a faculty member on activities other than coursework, such as committees or student groups. Again, as far as we know, the students in Peterson Academy have no interaction with faculty or instructors of any kind. Let's move to the quality of interactions, the component of the quality of interactions. So the National Survey of Student Engagement asks, how often did you engage in the following, or what was the quality of these interactions that you had? So they're asking quality of interactions with academic advisors. Again, as far as we know, there are no academic advisors at Peterson Academy. Quality of interactions with faculty. Again, as far as we know, there are no interactions with faculty at Peterson Academy. Quality of interactions with other administrative staff and offices. This is probably not going to happen unless the students email Michaela Peterson. As far as I know, we don't know who the other staff might be. Quality of interactions with student services staff. As far as we know, there are no student services staff in Peterson Academy. Quality of interactions with students. Well, there are interactions with students planned for in Peterson Academy, as far as we know, with the social networking structure that they're working on. So in that sense, there could be interactions among students. Let's move to the next category, supportive environment. So how often did you attend campus activities and events? Attend events that address important social, economic, or political issues, encouraging contact among students from different backgrounds. How often did your school help you to manage your non-academic responsibilities? How many times did your school provide opportunities to be involved socially? Did your school provide support for your overall well-being? Did your school provide support for students to succeed academically? Did your school spend significant amounts of time, encourage you to spend significant amounts of time studying on academic work? Did your school use learning support, encourage you to use learning support services such as tutoring services or the Writing Center? Again, I ran through this list because I don't think any of these apply to Peterson Academy, except maybe one. Does your school encourage you to spend significant amounts of time studying and on academic work? I can imagine Jordan Peterson giving many motivational speeches saying how important it is to sacrifice the present moment to hit the books and study and watch the online lectures instead of loafing around. So that encouragement is probably going to be there. These other components I don't think are possible, again, because it all involves resources and opportunities that are not available at Peterson Academy. Supports for students, writing centers, tutoring services, support for your well-being, support for you academically. It doesn't seem that, as far as we know, Peterson is going to offer those types of supports any more than Netflix or Apple TV or Masterclass offers support for a person's success. Of course, these other issues, such as encouraging you to go to events or social events, again, there are no social events at the fully online university. Let's go to the next category, which is writing. How often did your university give you the opportunity to analyze or evaluate something you read, researched, or observed? Not possible at Peterson Academy, there is no writing. Argued a position using evidence and reasoning. Not possible at Peterson Academy, there is no writing. Described your methods or findings related to data you collected in lab or field work or a survey project. As far as we know, not possible at Peterson Academy, there are no assignments. Given feedback to a classmate about a draft or outline he or she had written. Not possible at Peterson Academy, there is no writing. Received feedback from a classmate, friend, or family member about a draft before turning it in your final assignment. Not possible at Peterson Academy, there is no writing, there are no assignments. Summarize material you read, such as articles, books, or online publications. That could happen if students do it on their own time. They're not going to get any feedback on their summary, but students could take notes on things that they read on their own. And finally, talk with a classmate, friend, or family member to develop your ideas before starting your assignment. Again, this would be possible at Peterson Academy, except for the fact that there are no assignments at Peterson Academy. So I'm going to conclude at the moment that this is not possible at Peterson Academy. Let's go to the category of high impact practices. So these are practices that are known to, again, lead to positive student outcomes if they have the opportunity to engage in this at the university. Did you participate in a culminating senior experience? It's unclear, like if anything like that will ever happen at Peterson University. I'm sorry, I should have said Peterson Academy. Did you have the opportunity to have a formal leadership role in a student group or organization? Well, I'm going to, at this point, say that's not going to happen at Peterson Academy unless over time their student groups and organizations begin to form. But it's unclear at this point how they would form a football team or a intramural sports, but they maybe could form other organizations. Did you participate in an internship, co-op, field experience, student teaching, or clinical placement? Again, that would be very powerful if the students are developing professional skills. It's unclear how Peterson Academy could assist in that in any way. How would they have the students placed in internships? So it's unlikely Peterson Academy students are going to have that type of opportunity, at least through Peterson Academy itself. Learning community or some other formal program where groups of students take 2 or more classes together. That could be possible at Peterson Academy. Why not? Study abroad program. Did you have the opportunity to participate in a study abroad program? As far as we know, Peterson Academy is not going to offer that opportunity. Work with a faculty member on a research project. Again, at Peterson Academy, there are no research projects, there are no projects, there are no interactions with faculty. So the answer is no for a Peterson Academy student. Did you have a course or courses that included a community-based project? Again, within Peterson Academy, it is unclear how that would be possible, given that it is fully online and there is no interaction with students and faculty or instructors of any kind, and there are no projects. So it's unclear how that would apply to Peterson Academy. All right, and here's our last category that I wanted to take some time to highlight from the survey, and that is the component of perceived gains. So do the students themselves perceive that they have grown in a particular way? So let's see how many of these could possibly apply to Peterson Academy. Acquiring job or work-related knowledge or skills. Probably not. Again, we'll see, but again, unless it can be intellectually enriching, but depends what you mean work or job-related skills. There aren't any courses in Peterson Academy focused on skill development, like learning how to become a computer programmer or learning how to be a teacher or learning how to become a physician. There's nothing hands-on because it can't be, because it's all online. So in that sense, students in Peterson Academy are probably not going to gain in that component. Analyzing numerical and statistical information, that's quite possible, depending on what courses are offered at Peterson Academy. They might have courses that focus on that. Become an informed and active citizen. Well, that's kind of a loaded question, I guess, especially in the context of Jordan Peterson's Ballywick. What does it mean to be an informed citizen? What does it mean to be an active citizen? Um, I suppose the answer is yes. Of course, it depends on what it means by being an active citizen. Are students not just learning about theories of government, but are they actually having an opportunity to apply that in the real world and be engaged in their communities, or their local politics or their local causes, um, in that sense, becoming an active citizen, not just learning about the theories. Developing or clarifying a personal code of values and ethics. I think that's probably going to be a core principle of Peterson Academy. So I will conjecture that that most definitely is possible. Solving complex real world problems. Again, it's hard to say. Um, in Peterson Academy, the students, through their coursework, their lectures, might think about and discuss complex real world problems. Um, but the students might not have the opportunity to actively engage in solving the problem just by watching the lecture. Just by passively receiving the information from the lecture, you're not actively going out and attempting to solve the real world problem or engage with the real world problem. So perhaps students could do that on their own, but it's unlikely that Peterson Academy itself is going to create the opportunities for students to engage in the problems, but certainly I would expect that they were probably going to talk about them. Speaking clearly and effectively, something Jordan Peterson emphasizes all the time. It's hard to imagine, though, that students at Peterson Academy will have any opportunity to practice this skill or develop this skill, since there are no courses, there are no sections, there are no face-to-face interactions. Now, certainly, there could be the social media of people direct messaging each other online, but it's unclear if there's going to be any face-to-face or even virtual speaking involved. And if there is, again, since students don't receive any feedback from Peterson Academy, it's unlikely they're going to get any feedback on how well they're speaking or presenting to a group. Thinking critically and analytically. I'm sure that's something that Peterson Academy is going to pride itself on. So I would say yes, that is possible within Peterson Academy. Understanding people from other backgrounds. That's an interesting question to think about in the context of Peterson Academy. On the one hand, I would imagine yes, through this, at least through the social media network, there's going to be the opportunity for students to learn from each other. It's not clear how homogeneous that group will be, but assuming it's not, there's the opportunity to learn from different people. The only caveat I would also offer to consider is, again, Jordan Peterson's clarion call to fix DEI, whatever that means. So if you're fixing diversity, maybe the goal isn't to have too much diversity. So I don't know. It's kind of a up in the air in terms of to what extent that's going to be fulfilled. This component will be fulfilled in Peterson Academy. Working effectively with others. Again, in theory, you have the social messaging, direct messaging in the social network. It's not clear that that's working with others. The students aren't going to be working together on a group project because there are no group projects. They're not going to be working together on an assignment because there are no assignments, at least as far as we know. Maybe they could study together for a multiple choice test. So in that sense, that could be working together, perhaps. So again, we'll have to wait and see. Writing clearly and effectively. Ideally, you would like students to learn this, have this experience of writing and getting feedback on their writing throughout their university experience. At this point, it's unclear that Peterson Academy will provide any such opportunities, especially in regards to students getting feedback on their writing. So that concludes our short walkthrough of the National Survey of Student Engagement and kind of using that as a framework as a thought exercise to imagine what Peterson Academy might be like and what students might get out of it. Again, it's all conjecture at this point because Peterson Academy is not opened yet. But again, I felt and feel compelled to make this video in the sense of thinking about if Peterson Academy is a streaming service, if it is masterclass, there's no reason to try to apply this framework, the National Survey of Student Engagement framework, to thinking about that. We wouldn't apply this survey to Netflix or to the Daily Wire. I mean, why would we do that? That would be silly. But the survey, I think, highlights many of the unique experiences that a student can have at a university. That's, of course, not to say that every university does all of these components well. But in theory, the university provides a space, a place, a segment of time for students to engage in these unique and potentially productive and enriching experiences. Not to say that it's perfect, but these are some of the, again, I think this survey does highlight some of the unique dimensions of the student experience for a student at a four-year college or a four-year university. So if Jordan Peterson is going to say, I'm opening an online university, let's you and I be very clear about what that university is able to do and what it's not able to do. Offering a selection of online lectures to watch is not equivalent to going to a four-year college and a four-year university or a four-year university. Now, I'm not advocating for that and saying that every student needs to do that, but let's not conflate a streaming service with a four-year university. That's my point. So thank you.